Hey, this is Pride with iRepairMD, and today we got in a Mavic Pro that has been involved in a crash. The owner said that the bird still flies, but the camera is not stabilizing. You still get video images, and that's and well, before I even turn the drone on, I want to point out a few things. Okay, he had a hard landing. So this has been, the front lining column has been a little broken off. This is something that we can probably super glue back together at this point. We don't have to replace that. Okay, and then the front of the camera, you can see the front has been damaged. Right here, the camera had a hard landing. And also what I noticed is that the motor right here is separating like that. So the front motor of the camera has separated, okay, and that's going to be a little problem there. Okay, and then what else is a problem is that the heating plate in the bottom has been nicked. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on the drone. See what other problem it might have. Okay, so it seemed to do the system check just fine. Let's turn on the app. All right. Let's connect to the app. Okay. So the app does show that the camera is working, however, it is not stabilizing. Okay. And we also see that there's a lot of problems. Let's look at the other problems that might occur on here. Let's go back to the main category.
The home point has been updated. Please check it
we
on
know
the map.
GPS is working. All right. Let's go ahead and turn off this complete thing. Let's go to vision check. So we have a gimbal error, of course, because it's not working. We have a forward right vision error is bad. So the one in the front right here needs to be replaced, and that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and start the repair. Okay, so what we need to do is go ahead and power off the drone, power off the controller, and now let's go ahead and take out the battery. That's the first thing we'll need to do. Take out the battery, okay, and then let's go ahead and flip the bird upside down. What we're gonna do first is replace the plate, this plate right here. We're gonna replace it with a new plate, okay. Okay, so the tool that I will be using for this repair is gonna be the tool set, and again, you can purchase any of these parts and the tool set from my website. If I don't have it listed, just send me an email. I can definitely send you an invoice that you can pay through PayPal. All right, so we're gonna need the torque screw for this. Let's go ahead and use the T2.0. All right, T2.0, 2.0 right here. All right, so this is a H1.5. H1.5 torque is what we need for this. Okay. this aside. Alright, so this is the visual positioning. 2 in the bottom, and this is the ultrasonic height sensor. One is a transmitter, the other one is a listener. Take the shaft out. Alright, there are about 4 plates holding this. 4 screws holding this plate down. This is the heat sink. This is what's the drone needs to sink to cool down, and also it is the undercarriage of the drone. It is a metal piece, but the bend like this will actually obstruct its proper airflow, which will cause the drone to overheat. And you definitely need to replace a plate if you have a bend like that, because it's caved in. And the owner advised me that he put a fish finder right here. So this thing flew around with fish finder, but it is also, I believe that fish finder is obstructing the visual positioning of the drone. So if you want to attach anything, don't put it to the bottom of the drone, because all these are crucial sensors. Let's go ahead and carefully lift up the plate. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're gonna replace it, the old one here, with a new plate. Okay. There you go. Let's go ahead and put everything back in. So you got a new plate replaced. All right. Putting on the screw on the outside first before I work on the inside. Alright, now I need the one with the deeper shaft. Alright. The owner attempted a repair on this, and he advised me that he had some issue. So asked me to go ahead and repair it myself. I think the process of trying to take out the obstacle avoidance or lifting up the top cover actually damaged the obstacle avoidance sensor on his drone. So he needed a new obstacle avoidance sensor now. Okay. Okay, so now what we need to do is actually get to the gimbal. The only way to get to the gimbal is to go ahead and remove the screws here, and let's go and start from the top. So to get to the gimbal, we need to remove the shell, lift this cover up. So again, we're going to use the same 8 screw. All right. And then there are about 4 screws on top and 4 more set in the bottom. Correction, 6. It's missing a screw here. We lost that. We're going to replace him. Give him a new screw there too. All right. Okay, so this one more left here. Now we're going to flip the drone upside down, and now we need to replace a few components also. So we need to replace, or take out first the cover of this. few more here. All right. Now let's go ahead and lift up the plate cover. And for that, I'm gonna use a flat head real quick. Take my flat head here. Correction. Let's go ahead and use this weld right here and just pull it out. Same thing on the other side. Use the screw, flex it forward, bend it. Now you have these hex screws here. So I'm gonna take those off. All right. Okay, so now what we need to do is go ahead and lift the plate up. Okay, so now we need to take the shell off. The best way to take the shell off is to do it from the front right here. See the two clamp? Let's go ahead and just lift the shell up. These are all snaps, so you need to pull it carefully. Pull up the snaps carefully. Okay, back here, be very careful. There's the GPS wire. This GPS unit here, and there's a connector here. Let's go ahead and pull out the GPS and this connector. Okay, now let's look at the cable here. And yeah, definitely the owner did some serious paste on here that we need to correct also. Let's go ahead and get a closer look. All right, as you can see, this area, this is where the obstacle avoidance sensors are, and he did some major work on it. So let's go ahead and just take the screws off first and take a look at what we have to do to fix this. All right. So what we have here, we have Phillips screws. So let's change the Phillips screw bit here. Let's go ahead and use the Phillips screws for this. All right. Now that we have the Phillips screws, there's another set of Phillips screws. There's 4 sets of holding, 4 Phillips screw holding the plate on. So let's go ahead and take those off. Okay, now you have the 4 screws off. What we need to do is go ahead and lift these cables up. These are the flex connector, and this one is the visual positioning camera. All right, and now what we need to do now is go ahead and carefully disconnect the power source. Okay, and then we're going to just drop the gimbal. All right, drop the gimbal out. Look in the bottom. Let's go ahead and carefully pull the gimbal out. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and slide this piece right here, the power cable. Okay, now let's go ahead and take this out of. All right, so now this can be out of play for now. Let's actually take some of this goo off. What kind of black goo here? Okay, the black goo is the one that's connected to the visual positioning sensor. and it has some major goo on it. Okay, and you can see where the front right has been ripped. When he took it off, he ripped this cable here. So we're gonna need to replace the visual positioning bracket. So let's go ahead and also take out, use the Phillips screw, take out the visual positioning front assembly. In order to do that, we have to take out the front compass right here. Let's go ahead and use a Phillips screw. We're gonna lift that out, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and take the visual positioning cameras out. Front obstacle avoidance camera. This bracket, so let's pull that out. Okay. And this is the visual positioning bracket. We're going to replace it with a new one. It has been ripped. The previous repair was, he wasn't aware that there's a cable here, so he accidentally nixed it. But we're going to go ahead and replace this piece. We don't need to replace the whole bracket. We just have to replace the camera system, and I have a spare of that. You can get an additional one from my site. Okay, so what we're going to do is concentrate on this visual positioning bracket here. The front visual positioning bracket. All right, we're going to replace that with a new set right here I have in front of me. Okay, so what we need to take out is 2 screws up front. So these 2 screws up front, these are small Phillips screws. Let's take that out. Okay, these screws are tiny. Be very careful not to lose them. All right. Let me go ahead and take it out a little bit more. Here we go. All right. Okay, so now what you're gonna have are some adhesive you have to peel out, and then there's a also adhesive that's sticking to the bracket. Let's go ahead and carefully move it out. All right, put a little force into it, and there you go. You have the cover and the camera. Let's go ahead and pull the camera out. That's the adhesive that's holding this on. Okay, now you got that camera and the bracket out. Let's go ahead and put the new set in. All right, so the new set goes on like I have here. Let's go ahead, push it in, and then wrap it in this place right here. And let's go ahead and put the screws back on to tighten everything. All right, so now we're going to tighten it back. One more screw in this hole right here. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the visual positioning back onto the drone. Okay. So that way all we have to do is rebuild the gimbal. So the way it's set up is the 2 fronts visual sensors located here. Let's go ahead and slide it into place. Match it to the screw, to the Phillips screw notch, like so. All right, and then what we're gonna do is go ahead and tighten the screws back down on it. Okay. All right, now we'll put the 2 Phillips back into place. All right, one more. Located right here. Okay. All right, what we need to do now is put the compass back into place. Or front IMU, actually. This is the IMU. Front IMU, or internal measurement unit. Let's go ahead and put that into place. All right, and this screws is a little tight. Okay, we have to align it. Put it right where it's aligned. And then tighten it down. Okay, so now that's done. Okay, so we have that done. Let's go ahead and fold this drone away and let's work on the gimbal itself now. All right. Now let's work on the gimbal. So this is the gimbal right here. And let me give you a close-up on the gimbal. Okay, so the gimbal has suffered some major malfunction. Let's pull all these connectors off. This is the video transmission cable, and we noticed earlier that that video transmission cable was fine, okay? However, what we need to do now, let's go ahead and pull the video transmission cable out so we can get to the gimbal controller, or the Axis Gimbal 3 controller. All right, this is the gimbal flex right here. Let's go ahead and take the logic board out. Okay. Let's take the logic board off. Okay. Now that we got the logic board off, we can go ahead and rebuild this. Okay. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and drop the gimbal out. So let's go ahead and take the two screws right here, two Phillips, that's holding the gimbal to the plate. Okay. All right, now that's dropping down. Let's put this aside and let's work on the gimbal itself now. And let's look at how the gimbal is constructed here. Right, what we're gonna need to replace, we're gonna replace the flex cable right here. This flex is no longer good. It has been damaged. Okay. Let's go ahead and take everything out. Let's take the screws off. We're going to replace all these covers here. Some tiny, tiny screws. Oops. All right. This has also been damaged. Be very careful when you're working around with the screw set and pulling out the plate. You don't want to damage the video cable. The video cable is extremely expensive. Okay, there's 3 screws holding this plate on right here, and you have 1, 2, and the third one is on the side. Let's go ahead and take those out. Put screws on a different corner. All right, and now what we're going to have now is go ahead and replace this too. the video cable is fine, and so this particular flex here is also not a problem. Okay, what we need to do is just work on these cable here, these antenna flex, or these gimbal flex. Make sure they are coming off properly. Okay, upon extra inspection, the flex here does not need to be replaced. It looks like it's intact. No, it's been ripped. So let's go ahead and replace it. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Okay. So what we need to do is go ahead and lift up the connector here. And there's some black adhesive holding it. So let's go ahead and pry this out using a pry tool. Okay. Carefully move it out. We need to disassemble the whole gimbal system in order to make this work. Okay, so now, as you noticed earlier, the motor has been destroyed, you know? So let's go ahead and take the cap off this using a Phillips screw also. Alright, we need to replace a lot of components here. Okay, so take this cap off here. We're going to replace this cap. However, we need the screw. So let's go ahead and save the screw. Cap is going to be replaced. And then let's go ahead and take the camera out. So there are about 2 screws holding it in. Okay. Let's just lift it off carefully. Separate the camera system, the camera plate from to separate the back half of the camera where the motor has broken off. Just use a razor with a slit here, something to get a screw out. Just slowly pry it. It looks like the camera, once it fell, it actually caused this to deform a little bit. So now we have this plate right here. Okay. Now what we need to do is, now that we have all this system the way it is, let's go ahead and disengage the camera from here too. Let's go ahead and pull the camera out. Camera cable pull off. Now the camera's out of play. Okay, camera's good. Now we have to rebuild this system right here. And let's take the plate off. Take this plate off here. Back camera plate comes off. Okay. Let's see, and that also you can see where the gimbal flex is right now. Let's go ahead and pry the gimbal flex out of this. Carefully remove the gimbal flex off. And then, once we have that off, let's go ahead and pull the flex out around. Okay. Let's go ahead and take this plate off too. Take all the screws off, and so all you're going to be left with is the 2-axis gimbal setup. All right, so this is in good shape, and this is the flex cable originally that belonged, and you can see where it ripped off. The flex cable ran here, and that's just where it's ripped. Okay, so this is the flex cable, the remaining flex cable that was on here before. Just carefully use a plunger tool. Pull this out. What you don't want to damage is any of the motor components. You just want to go ahead and remove all the bad cable. This is the flex cable that's ripped off. Okay, it's a clean rip right here. Let's go ahead and take all this out. Okay, now what you have is a perfectly good video cable and a bare 2-axis camera, actually 3-axis camera right here. Okay, and a motor. We're gonna have to replace the 3-axis camera here with a new set, a 3-axis gimbal with a new set. Okay, so this is the old 3-axis cable. Video cable is still good, and this is my rebuilt one that I built earlier. You can see that this motor, where the cap is no longer properly working, so we're going to replace it with the new one. And this has all the assembly set up already, so you can actually buy this assembly set up from my site, and this is really good to go. You just have to install the motor, okay, and then all the other caps. Let's go ahead and put the camera back on. Okay, so now we have the camera, and let's go ahead and snap it into place. Okay, carefully. You have to align it. Once you have it aligned, add a little pressure. Should feel it lock. Okay. If it doesn't lock, it means that it's not working. Let's go ahead right now, line it up. There you go, and now it's locked into place. Okay, so what I am going to take from the previous one are these heat sink fillers, okay? Heat sink paste. So let's go ahead and use that from the old motor. Place it onto the new one right here, and you can just go ahead and just paste it around, flatten it out, and this will also keep the component safe. Also, when prevents the camera from overheating. Let's go ahead and place it back into place. All right, now put the shaft screws back on. Okay, and you have another one on this side. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to put a new cover plate on it. Okay, so we now have a new cover plate. You can get these from my site. I got plenty of these. If it's not listed on my site, you can just, again, email me. Here we go. Let's put in a new one. This protects the gimbal and the camera, and also the flex from any sudden damage. Okay, and that's held together by 2 tiny Phillips screws. There you go. Okay, and now we have this assembly almost complete. Camera we have the flex cable already ran around. All we really need to do, since this is a partially a complete assembly, is go ahead and mount it back on to the plate, okay? So the way we want to run it to the plate is that, see this little notch right here? We want the flex gimbal to run through it, okay? So we want the gimbal flex connector to go in this slot, like I have it now, okay? Let's take the screw out of the way for now. So we run the gimbal flex through the slit like this, okay? Run it through the slit, and then go ahead and then we will mount the plate, okay? So now let's go ahead and mount it back in, and that's using the bigger shaft screws. Let's go ahead and put the bigger shaft screw into place to hold it. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put the bigger shaft screw into place. Screws hole here. All right, now that's tightened. We got one more left on the other side. Let's hold this aside. Okay, let's put that screw in. Okay, it's a little harder to do this demonstration because I have a camera that I have to also consider. Trying to get you guys the best angle. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your own angle so get the right pitch in here. All right. Let's go put the screws into place. Okay, let's go ahead. Make sure this is nice and vertical. There we go. Now it's lock. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the logic board back on. All right, the logic board goes on the way we have it here. You can see where the plate on, see the three screw hole, 1, 2, 3, and there's 3 holes here. We align it up like we see it, okay? All right, let's go ahead and put these onto place. Secure it out. All right. Okay, put the other screws in. There we go. One more here. Okay. So now let's go ahead and carefully put the gimbal motor connector in. All right, let's go snap it, make sure it aligns. Do not force the motor into place. You want to just carefully feel a little snap. Now the video transmission cable. All right, make sure it nicely seated. So now everything is seated. We can go ahead and bring the bird back in to view. Okay, and we join back in. And now let's take these cables out, bend it out of the way, and we're gonna run the power cable from the bottom, notch right here, see where the loop is? Go ahead and run that in, okay? Flip it over. And now let's go ahead and pull it up so it aligns. Push it up. Here we go, we have everything aligned now. Let's go ahead and secure all the screws. There are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and secure these screws in place. All right, I'm gonna do the front first. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the side corner right here. These slots here. All right. Then this and this. All right, front first. Okay, and then we have this plate right here, one more screw. All right. And now let's go ahead and put the visual positioning camera back on. Okay. Make sure it's nice and snapped. Same here. There you go. 2 front obstacle avoidance camera is in place. Let's do the downward system here. Make sure that is nice and snapped into place. Okay. All right. And then the power cable back in. Okay. At this point, what we want to do before we put all the other component in is go ahead and check to see if the motor is working. So you can actually put the battery on like so, engage it, then power up the drone that way. And what we want to see if the camera stabilized. You see the camera here. Okay. Camera is jolty. Okay, so now that we're gonna have finished the screw off, tighten that up. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and test this out. Before we put everything back into place, we're gonna go ahead and put the battery in. Let's go ahead and test the gimbal. Make sure it lines up. All right, there you go. The gimbal assembly is working. Let's go ahead and test out the connection. All right. Okay, so now that we have a steady camera, let's see if the app is actually displaying. Make sure the video transmission is coming from the drone also. Okay, so we can go ahead. All right, and check out the app here. All right, so we can see that the camera is working. The reason why it says cannot take off is mainly because the camera itself needs to have the drone itself needs a GPS unit, and it won't allow you to fly without it, but you can see the video is working. So let's go and power off the drone, and then we're gonna put everything back together. battery out right here. So before I put everything in, all these area that had adhesive on it, we're gonna go ahead and replace it. Make sure SGX is on there. So we're gonna reinstall, put the silicone fixture on there so it doesn't come loose during flight or a hard landing. What we need to do now is go ahead and put the cap back on, but you got to make sure the GPS unit is in place. Go ahead and lock the GPS in. Snap it into place right here. Now go ahead and snap the covers on all drone pieces we have here. Okay, making sure that everything is nice and snapped. All right, now everything is good condition. Let's go ahead and put the screws back into place. Okay. Start off with the back screws here, using the hex screws. Put the hex screws back into place. Okay. Here we go. You got 4 more screws in the well here. Put that in. All right, we've got 2 more screws here. 1, 2. Also in place. Okay, turn the drone over. Okay, what we need to do, these screws on top. Okay. Then the bottom screws. And 1 more bottom screw. All right. And then let's go ahead and put the covers back on. Okay, snap into place. Now we just need to replace it with the smaller screws. Smaller H screws. Okay. Here we go. And then put the screw drone on. And again, let's power it up now. Check out the GPS signals. All right. Fire up the app. Let's go ahead. And you can see basically it is ready to go. It is flyable. Okay, so the drone is ready. Let's check all the system check. Okay, no error. Main controller, everything is acting normal on here. See, visual positioning, everything is online, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and take a quick test flight outside. Okay, so before the test flight, what we need to do, remember that front leg that we mentioned that's been a little wobbly due to the crash? This leg right here. What we need to do is shore it up. So we're gonna use a little super glue. So we're gonna use a little super glue here. Just a teeny bit super glue on the tip right here. All right, the tip of this. All you need is a teeny tad. Run it right here on the edge. We're gonna shore up this area, and we don't want to put it too much where we can't take and replace it. We need to in the future, because eventually one of these might break and we want to be able to repair it. So let's go ahead and put super glue here, and the same thing on the other side right here. See how bad it's bent? So we can go ahead and super glue that area too. Little super glue here. All right. Let's go ahead. And then we want to add pressure onto it. So as the glue is curing, we want to go ahead and apply a little pressure on this area. Okay, so that's what we need to do, is put some weight in the front area right here, same as on this, and then we'll let the glue do its course. Okay, now we have the test flight. What we need to do, we're here for the test flight, and what the owner of this drone wants to do is to minimize the amount of damage in the future that he will incur. So I have recommended also a hoodie right here. This is a glare reduction hoodie, and also in the event of a crash, it will actually help protect most of the gimbal, you know, from a light crash. And then, as you notice, once you unfold the drone, it's awfully close to the ground. You can see in most cases in a bumpy area like this, the sensors are touching the ground, and these legs are really flimsy. They don't hold well, and the obstacle avoidance and the ultrasonic sensor back here, the debris can fall into it, and that's not good. Okay, so what I have developed is the Raptor skid right here. You can get it from my site, and you click on the link below. And how you apply this Raptor skid on is you slide it in like this, and then the back right here, you just lightly pull and locks into place. And then the other side, you do the same. You just slide it in, okay? And then the other piece here, you snap it into place. And this will actually raise the profile off the ground. We'll raise the drone off the ground high enough that the debris won't bother the system at all. And in the event of a crash, these bumpers here and the skid design has a crumple zone, so the skid will break before it has an opportunity to damage your gimbal. The most expensive part about the drone, other than the drone, is the gimbal camera itself. And now you have an added double protection. You have the skid at the event of a crash, and then you have this hoodie that's also protecting it, also providing sun glare protection. And I have actually tested it and accidentally flew into a pine tree. It fell about 40 feet. My drone fell about 40 feet, and the thing that hit the ground first was the skid, and they broke off the way they're designed to, and I was able to take off the skid, and a few minutes later I was able to actually
less than 30 seconds later, I sent the drone back up and it was flying just fine. The gimbal was intact, everything was working, video feed and all the motor were protected because I had the skid on here. And the owner also wanted the capability to land it on water. So this Raptor skid comes with, you can buy these additional pontoon that allows you, has this locking system, allows you to actually attach it to the Raptor skid, and that will prevent it. It actually raises the profile a lot higher, and also these floats will land on water. If you look at my video, my previous video on the Raptor skid and how it does a water landing, it's great. And you can see it's not obstructing any obstacle avoidance on any flight system. It's wide open, so there's no false reading on anything. And to take off the pontoon, you just push your thumb, push out and rip out. Same on this side, push and rip open. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and test fly this drone. Make sure everything is in working order. I'm gonna go ahead and initiate flight test. All right. Okay, so now I'm flying over my parents' neighborhood, looking down, and you can see no sun glare in the hood. There's no obstruction at all. Let's go ahead and go to where the sun might be. So this is early in the morning, and you can see I'm flying this around without any issue at all. No worry about the glare of the sun. That is highway right there. Just look down at the neighborhood. All right, so I'll do a quick test flight at the neighborhood, and let's go ahead and take it over. Okay, and now we're gonna go and do a return to home test. So now let's go ahead and do return to home. The return to home button. Okay, so now the drone is coming back home, making a beeline back to its initial landing, initial flight area. So here it comes. All right, so now
Landing.
it's gonna be landing where it took off. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down to a point, and then I'm gonna cancel I'm gonna just manually land it after I get it to a low enough point. All right. Here it comes. I'm gonna cancel the landing, and there's the drone right there. Bring it down, and I'm gonna land it over an area where you would not normally land a drone. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the rough area right here. See, my dad is digging up some dirt in this area, and yeah, I'm gonna land in this area here. You wouldn't land the drone in this area unless you know that you have to wrap this skid. But anyways, here we go. And now this is the Raptor skid on the drone. You can see the landing. Don't have to worry about any bad landing. And now to take off the skid, I just power down the drone. Okay, and now just free the back, just slide and release. Now the back is off. And again with this side, same. Slide, release. Okay, and now just pull this off. Then you can pull the other off. Then you can just fold. And you can keep the hood on. The hood is fine to go in the case. Okay, now you have this hood. But anyways, this is Prac, and what you saw was a Mavic Pro obstacle avoidance front sensor replacement and the gimbal repair on a Mavic drone. Safe flying, safe repair. Bye bye.